everyone. Oh, anytime. All right. We're doing it. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the AB 617. No, Mike, is it? South Sacramento, Lawrence Steering Committee meeting. The meeting is officially open. All right. Gonna go ahead and get started. Get my glasses together, guys. All right, we're gonna start with our welcome and logistics.
Before we dive into meeting logistics, this is Britta Romans. I'm a co-facilitator for those of you who don't know me. I'm just going to read a message from Veronica Cummings. So Veronica is not able to be here in person, but she wanted me to read this on her behalf. She says, "Hello, steering committee, area district staff, and community members, and greetings from Washington, D.C. I wish I could have shared the news with you about the transition from Kearns and West and said goodbyes in person. I want to thank you for the trust and spirit of cooperation that you extended towards me as your facilitator. I genuinely intended to stay on this project for its entirety, and I still plan to follow your progress on such a critical issue. As a former Sacramento resident, I care deeply for your well-being and good health, and the work you are doing together will lead to better health outcomes for those who need your championship the most. Good luck to all of you. Wishing you my best always, Veronica." So she wishes she could have delivered that message in person, but as you've heard, she's in Washington, D.C. right now, and she wasn't able to join the Zoom. So I'm reading that on her behalf, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you Nicholas Towns.
Nicholas Towns, I'm a vice president in Kearns and West, managing our Bay Area office, and I'm excited to be here to help facilitate the meeting today, and to get to know you all, as I'm sure I'll be around for the foreseeable future. We do have some general reminders related to our dual event. So first is to remember that we want to have a order for the questions and comments. And so if you have a question or comment to make, please raise your hand virtually. If you don't do that virtually or here in person, please do that, and we'll be able to log the order that you receive and go through that process. The order of operations will be that we'll start with the steering committee that's in person. We'll then move to the online version of the steering committee. Before, if we have time, we'll then take general public comment. The general public comment, once again, will follow the order of in-person first, followed by the virtual, if we have time to get there. We do have a very packed agenda tonight, so we will try to stay on time. We really request that everyone agrees with the charter for today, to keep our comments short, to respect each other as we communicate, and to make sure that we leave time for conversations. We also have, as I stated, already a packed agenda. If you look at agenda items 3 and 4, those are our action items. We will need to get to agenda item 3, so that's an immovable item. But for the action items under agenda item number 4, we have 2 new steering committee applications to be voted on today. That can be moved if the panelist discussion later on goes over, but we will be trying to maintain our agenda so we get that. But just letting you know that's the option, that if we do need more time for our panelists, if we do need more time for our panelists, we will need to cut that item. So just want to make sure we're all aware of that and agreement. And then finally, again, just a reminder that we want to keep our comments and questions as short as possible, just for the agenda's sake. I'll now move it on to Stephanie, who will conduct.
Right.
Sorry. Let's first go to the translation. Claudia, so you can repeat the logistic instructions.
Thank you, so I'll be supportive. Muy buenas tardes a todos, bienvenidos a su reunión. El día de hoy tenemos interpretación simultánea tanto en persona como en línea. Si usted está en persona y necesita interpretación simultánea, por favor visitar ahí a la mesa con Claudia, ella tiene el equipo listo para pasar. Para los que están en línea, Si usted se ha unido en línea y usted necesita interpretación, también le invitamos en este momento a que acceda a la interpretación seleccionando ya sea el icono de mundo que se encuentra abajo de su pantalla o también puede seleccionar los tres puntitos que indican more o más opciones si usted está usando un celular o una tableta. Ya sea que usted seleccione el icono de mundo, los tres puntitos, enseguida va a seleccionar su lenguaje de preferencia, en este caso va a ser español. Le invitamos a silenciar el audio original y si está usando un celular o una tableta, no olvide oprimir finalizado, ya no activar para que de esta manera pueda acceder a la interpretación. Now for our monolingual English only speakers, and we hope if we do have our Spanish speakers who have joined, please feel free to give a thumbs up or let us know that you have been able to successfully activate interpretation. If there are any issues, we will be here to help, but the interpreters are already interpreting and in the channels ready to assist. Las intérpretes ya están listas para servirle, así es que siéntase libre de acceder y si tiene alguna pregunta, por favor déjenos saber. For any of our monolingual English only speakers, if you are joining online, we also invite you to select the interpretation icon. To select interpretation, if you are on a desktop, you will select the world-like icon at the bottom of the screen. If you are using a cell phone or a tablet, your options are different. You will actually need to select the three little dots at the bottom right-hand corner or top right-hand corner of your tablet. After you select the three dots or the world-like icon, you will click on English as your language preference, and you will be good to go. A few instructions just so that we can all have an easy flow. If you can all mimic me, so we're going to use three signals today. The first one is slow down. Can we do this? Slow down. So if any of your colleagues are speaking too quick or you just feel like, okay, hold on, let me catch up to you, slow down. If anybody has their mic too low and you can't hear across the room, or if you just feel like that could interfere with interpretation online, feel free to do this. Raise your voice or bring the mic up, right? We can all do this. And feel free to just let your colleagues know. Raise your voice or bring the mic up. And the last one, but not less important, is one voice, one mic. So if we do this, one voice, one mic. That's if you hear any side conversation, somebody forgot the order of rules that you have established, then we'll be good to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And so at this time, I am going to begin our roll call for our steering committee members. And so I ask that for our steering committee members, if you are online, if you could please unmute your mic at this time so that when I call your name, you can answer by saying present. I'm also going to do a roll call of our district staff and our CARP staff as well, just to let you know what's coming. Starting with steering committee members, if you're here, please say present. Bishop Chris Baker.
Here.
Patricia Shelby. Rhonda Henderson.
Present.
Tito Home.
Yes, ma'am.
Vincent Valdez.
Here.
Rachel Brown. Stephen Street.
Present.
Reyna Moreno. Michael Lampkin. Richard Falcone. Richard Lincoln. Ward Winchell. Barry Boyd. Morgan Brown. Here. Lori Walker.
It looks like
Roberto Rizzo. Thank you. Barry Boyd.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Maybe I'm hitting the wrong button. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for confirming. For
Okay.
our Metro Air District, if when I call your name, if you could just wave your hand so that everyone knows who you are, in the room and online. David Yang.
Here.
Sarah Falakwarsa. Here. Leah Colin. Amy Roberts. Jaime Lemos.
I believe he is online.
Maybe online, okay. Mark Lutzenheiser,
Here.
all right. Andrew Wynn Mann.
Here.
All right, thank you, welcome, Andrew. All right, and for our CARB staff, Adriana Smith.
Here.
Kevin Alls.
Here.
All right, thank you, and of course, we have our facilitators, Britta and Nicholas, that are here present with us today. All right, thank you.
Next. Next. Next item on our agenda is to go over if there's any community events to share. We're going to be capping this at 30 seconds each. Perfect. So introductions for the public community members present. Do we have any public community members present?
Yeah, you have. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Adrian Wren with Valley Vision. Thank you. Yes, I totally have an upcoming thing. Grab it out of my backpack. Here it is. So actually, this Wednesday, Valley Vision in partnership with United Latinos and the Sac County Department of Public Health and Climate Plan and several others are having an event at the corner of Fruit Ridge and Power Inn. This is a Vietnamese English event focused on some of the air quality work that we've been doing in South Sacramento. Love you guys to come out. Free food, really nice prizes for the whole family, and just a good time. And again, this is a primarily Vietnamese language event that we're also translating into English. Thank you. I have flyers.
All right, thank you. We do, let's get this portable back. Do you want to go ahead?
I am community member Jennifer Golden of the Megan Park Neighborhood Association, which is within the Serpent 8617 veterans.
Oh,
Well, not once Megan Park is running, but when you say are there any events this fall, my brain says, oh, let's see, which one of the three should I talk about? There is in Oak Park, October 5th, the Environmental Justice Festival. So I think that's from 10 to 2. Come on out, October 5th, at McClatchy Park. I said the right one, right? Yeah, I think it's McClatchy Park in Oak Park. So lovely to see you all here this evening, and I look forward to the conversation.
thank you. All right, thank you.
Perfect. Any virtual public introductions necessary? All right, I think we have some in the chat and we're ready on. I want to thank the in-person public comments for staying under your 30 seconds. So we're on track. Next, we'll go to agenda item number 2. The Community Emissions Reduction Program, and I'll be introducing Adriana to introduce her, the panelists, and to move forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
oh, there it is.
Hi, my name is Adriana Smith, and before I get into the SERP presentation and the panel, I just wanted to announce that the Air Resources Board did put out a request for applications for the community year grants, and the deadline for that it will be on Friday, November 1st. So just keep an eye out for that. Okay, hold on just 1 minute, please. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into the presentation first on the community emission reduction plan, and intro 101, and then I'll go ahead and jump into the SERP. Again, my name is Adriana Smith and I am with the Air Resources Board. As most of you know, I am the South Sacramento Foreign Community Policy Liaison. And I'll be, go ahead and dive into today's presentation. Next slide, please. So the South Sacramento Foreign Community was recently selected to develop a community emission reduction program. This plan needs to meet the minimum requirements in the Community Air Protection Blueprint 2.0, which is a roadmap for how to focus air quality improvement at the community scale, and it's intended to be a resource guide for communities throughout the CERC development process. Next slide, please. Now, to chart the pathway for plan development, we are in the beginning stages of the plan to improve the air quality in your community. So in order to do this, we want to go ahead and build out a shared understanding of each of the key elements along this path. The first thing you want to be thinking about are partnerships. You want to bring your partners in early in the process to be able to help develop strategies and that can commit to completing these actions to reduce emissions or exposure to emissions in your community. To assist you in prioritizing your concerns, assessing data and community information will be very, very valuable. Based on the issues that you identify as priorities, you'll come up with solutions, and these solutions are the actions that will be included in the overall plan, and which is referred to as the CERC. And then 8617 law calls for the CERC plan to be developed and adopted within 1 to 2 years. 1 to 2 years. So we are definitely committed to working with you over this period. Air quality does not change overnight. So this is going to be a long-term process and a journey that we look forward to sharing with you. Next slide, please. So as you develop this plan, it's incredibly important. It's incredibly important that the community stay involved and work in partnership with the state and the air district. By working in partnership, you will produce a plan that brings effective solutions that can be implemented and bring benefits to the community. The 5 elements in the blueprint are called out about the purpose of the CSC, which include identifying, prioritizing air pollution issues. Second, guiding CERC action development, defining community and its boundaries, develop and assist with community outreach, and tracking progress for the plan. And your community is already ahead of the game and is already doing a lot of this work already. Next slide, please. At the state and district level, the CARB and Air District support communities by assisting members in understanding and accessing technical air quality data, local and statewide sources of air pollution, and the applicable rules and regulations. They also write and enforce rules and regulations. CARB administers and manages incentive funds, while the Air District distributes grant and incentives through programs focused on building capacity and bringing cleaner technologies to communities sooner than is required by law. The blueprint will have more information on this to help determine what actions exist in your communities. We also have the Community Hub 2.0, which includes actions that other CSCs like yourself will have developed actions for their air pollution concerns. At the local scale, most importantly for this program, of course, is your community and your steering committee, which we discussed in the last slide. The community steering committee provides direction on the CERC objectives. The steering committee collaborates with the Air District and my CARB team to identify pollution sources in your neighborhood, and especially to prioritize your air quality concerns that should be addressed first. In developing the SERP, you'll also want to identify meaningful and measurable actions that will reduce pollution exposure and emissions in your neighborhoods. A measurable action is a quantifiable measure. It's used to track and report the progress of an individual action. Next slide, please. And Blueprint 2.0 Appendix B is where we have all the required elements for the SERP. That's where they're found, including these elements in your SERP will increase the likelihood of approval of the plan both by the district and by CARB. So that the district can effectively implement the plan, and most importantly, it's intended to ensure that air quality improvement and solutions improve the health of your community. CARB, one thing to point out is that CARB will also use this checklist when reviewing the South Sacramento Torrance SERP. So using it now will help as you develop your plan. And then at a high level at the table on the right, it includes the elements that must be included in the SERP. Slide, please. Next, let's go ahead and focus on the community solutions or actions. The Air District must work with the steering committee to look at potential SERP actions from the 7 buckets listed here to include the SERP. We won't get into too much technical detail or go into too deep, but along with the district, when you want more detail on any of these SERP actions, please feel free to reach out to me. The last thing I want to leave you with is to think about metrics. I mentioned that a little bit already. But as you develop your actions, a key thing to keep in mind is that each action must have a metric or a way of measuring the milestone for each action, which is a way that you can track those actions to know if the milestones have been accomplished. So to that end, metrics must be specific, measurable, and community focused. Next slide, please. In the Blueprint 2.0, we commit to making sure that everyone understands that they have civil rights to participate in this process and they're free of discrimination. This is why we're reinforcing this message here and letting folks know that we do have a complaint process and you'll see that link in the presentation under our contact slide. CARB has also committed to updating the 2016 Civil Rights Policy, which applied to all the programs, and I will make sure to share that information with this group as that effort develops. Next slide, please. On this slide, I just want to reiterate the focus of AB 617. AB 617 was created to address the disproportionate burden faced by the most heavily impacted communities across the state. The EJ focus of the program is to invest resources in disadvantaged communities or communities that have been closely impacted by air quality. Next slide. Here is one of the resources. Just wanted you to know that there are resources to help you with the SERP development. We have this SERP video series that other community steering committees have found extremely useful. And you can just click on the link at the bottom to get more information on that. Next slide, please. This is another resource, is the air quality fundamentals videos that provide gas emission reductions in California, and CSEs have also found this very useful. So check out the link. I'm sure you'll love this resource. I know I do. This is another resource is the SERP Actions Library, which is another amazing resource that you all can learn about what other community steering committees have done, what sort of actions strategies they've adopted. And slide, please. Next slide. I realize that there's a lot of information that I've said here. Here's our contact information as well as links to tools and resources to help you learn more about the program and about writing a cert. We also printed out a few copies of the blueprint. I put it either here in the room if you'd like a copy, or I can go ahead and, if there's not enough copies, I can also make copies for you. Just let me know. And next slide. Can you go back, please? I'm so sorry, hold on. No, before we go ahead and start the panel, I want to go ahead and open it up to, for any questions that anybody may have on what I just discussed, so.
Is AQ View 2.0 on there referenced anywhere? Or what is it?
It is not referenced up here, I know we shared it at the last presentation. Oh, sorry, it's not on here, but I did share that information at the last presentation, so at last month's meeting, it should be, it's under the resources slide.
Just a reminder for folks to please use the microphone, and if you don't, if we could just repeat the question. And I believe Vincent's question was about the 2.0, if it was part of that.
Yes, it was, but what is the correct name so we could reference it on the CARB website?
Are you mentioned AQView, right?
Yes,
Yes.
So-
That's correct.
and it's on the web, it's on the website?
Yeah, that's.
Thank you.
Are there any questions online or?
And we don't see any questions online. If you want to move on to the panelist presentations, we're trying to keep this up.
Sorry, there is a question. Can you hear me? Yeah, this is Herman Barahona with the Sacramento Environmental Justice Coalition. Have there been any civil rights complaints filed on AB 617 across the state of California since it started?
No, there has not been any civil rights complaints filed since the program started.
Okay, thank you.
I could just add, there have been conflicts, but none that have reached the threshold of a civil rights complaint. This is a part of our commitment in Blueprint 2.0, to make sure that this information is available for all steering committee members across the state. So that this is a standard slide that we now incorporate to all of our presentations.
Great, thank you so much.
Excellent. Any other questions online? And again, a reminder, you can always raise your hand if you have questions, we'll track it that way.
Okay, we can go ahead and move on to the next slide. So I will also be moderating today's panel, just a schedule, just a quick schedule. I'll spend about 20 minutes asking panelists questions that our community steering committee members and members of the public have prompted and are interested in learning more about. And then afterwards, I will go ahead and open it up for the CSC and for the public to be able to ask questions directly to the panelists. That'll be about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'll go ahead and finalize within the hour. Moving thoughts on that. So before we begin, I'd like to also say a few words. We know you understand that government, or we at the Air Resources, can provide governmental advice in the CERT process, but there's nothing better to hear directly from activist leaders from other CSCs and selected communities who have been in your shoes and who have boots on the ground doing the actual work and have started this process, a few years back. So there's a lot we can learn from our panelists' experience, and I know our CSC members are super excited to hear from all the panelists. Thank you so much for being here today. Now let's go ahead and introduce our panelists. I'd like to go ahead and welcome our panelists today, who took time out of their busy schedules to be here this evening and lend their support to the South Sacramento flooring community. I want to give the panelists a few minutes to introduce themselves and so go ahead and put it up for intros.
Paul Renee?
Yes, the first person is Debbie.
I don't know if you can see me. I'm having I guess a couple of devices crisis. So I'm on my phone and I hope you can hear me okay.
Let's see you go. Thank you.
Oh, now you can see me. Okay.
Oh, now we can see you. There we go.
I see myself now. Okay. I am on the San Joaquin, actually the Stockton CSC. And I've been on there since day one. And I'm happy to be here and happy to answer any questions for anybody that has questions for me.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you
Sure.
for being today again. We really appreciate it. So the next person, Angie, if you're here today, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angie Balderas, she, her pronouns. I'm here representing San Bernardino and Muscoy. I am the co-host, the community co-host for the San Bernardino and Muscoy. I've been here since the beginning, maybe not as a co-host, but as a community member and somebody who works here in the Inland Empire. I've been a resident here for over 3 decades. And very much involved. So yeah, so thank you for having me and I'll pass it back.
Thank you, Angie, for your introduction. I appreciate you being here today. I will pass it on to Jacqueline. I see you on.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Badejo. I am representing the South LA CSC. I've been there from the beginning of the process. I believe we have the largest boundary, the largest CSC members, and we were the first to have a community co-lead model along with 2 other community partners and South Coast AQMD. It's an honor to be here with you all tonight, and I just hope that I can help you in some form. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jacqueline. We appreciate you being here. And then we also have Sylvia Calzada here with us today. Introduce yourself.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Like I mentioned, my name is Sylvia Calzada. I am representing the CSC from the Portside neighborhood of South Bay, San Diego. I have been a resident of the west side of National City, who has been tremendously affected from pollution. And I am a 4th generation of National City, so I'm very strong in the advocacy and very on top, especially because I am an asthma patient, and unfortunately I have some other friends that do have to be dealing with that. So I'm very honored to be here and see if, how I could support you guys in implementing this plan that we have. So thank you.
We appreciate you being here this evening. I'm gonna go ahead and just dive right into the questions. Oh, excuse me. Let me talk a little bit louder. So let's go ahead and dive into the questions. First, like I said, we have 4 questions that I'll be moderating, and then we'll go ahead and open it up to the public and to the CSC members to be able to ask their questions that they may have. So Debbie, this first question is for you. The CSC is looking to learn more about participatory budgeting methodology that is being done in other communities and that have worked. From your perspective at the Stockton community, how has participatory budgeting worked? what's the process that's been done?
Well, basically, we start off with the total amount, of course. You're given that usually. CARB and the air district that is assisting the AB 617 group. They will check with the powers that be, check how much money is available for that area, and let you guys know how much is available. And then, or that's what we did anyway, I should say. So then, from there, we had thrown out ideas of everything, what we wanted to address. And it wasn't everything, you know, it was always a flexible body. The SERP was always flexible. You know, we could change things in a moment. So we would find out how much the air district would do the research on how much the products were, or how much the cost, you know, the cost of whatever we wanted to do. Let the group know, and then that would be assigned the dollar amount. And from there, the farther you go, you will realize that some things maybe didn't get enough and some things got too much. So you give and take from items. I know, just an example, we had set aside a few $1 million for air filtration in the schools. And then we found out after about 1.5 years that the schools were already going to do this and it was already paid for. So that was that. So what we did was we moved that money into another program that was doing quite well and was being effective and taking out the pollution as necessary in the area. And so it's all up to it was all up to us members, but it was also had to be approved by the board of the air district and CARB, because they're the ones that are basically administering this program. So you guys are really lucky. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy and take advantage of everything, because you will find that maybe there's something that you could use in the process too, not just your neighbors. So
Thank you so much, Debbie. We appreciate that explanation and you providing your experience with that. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to.
It's a little general, but you know, budgets, when you get into detail.
During the open session, if the CSC members have any other questions, they can pose it then. Thank you so much. The next, I'll move on to the next question that I will direct towards Angie. So one of the questions that have come up is, how many times a month did your steering committee or your subcommittees meet to ensure that the SERP completion deadline was met? And then what were the best ways for communication to occur for the CSC to be able to stay on track? If you'd like me to repeat that, I can, sorry.
Yes, the second half of that question.
So the second half was, what were the best ways for communication to occur for the CSC to stay on track?
All right, so I want everyone to keep in mind, we were one of the first ones. So I think everyone did, and including AQM staff and others, did their best, what they could with the cards they were dealt with. It was like we were learning, right? We were on the trenches together. But also setting that foundation, right? We met once a month, and Daniel, please correct me if I'm wrong. Daniel's one of the great resources that we have at AQMD, so shout out to him. First and foremost, just building that foundation, right? Just the meetings itself, to get that out of the way, how the meetings are gonna function, right? We have different people from different like business owners, residents, different stakeholders, right? And when you get everybody together, everyone's like, we need this, we need that. And sometimes it gets a little chaotic. So making sure we're on the same page, we all understand that we want the best for our communities. We might want X, Y, and Z. We might not get it all, but we have to stay focused. So all that in-house, anything, gotta leave it out. Let's focus. This is what we want. This is what is tangible. This is how we have to organize AQMD or CARB in order for AB 617 to be community-centered and really so we could get the fruits from this AB 61 program, right? So for us, we did put a lot of, or try to put a lot of work into that, and all the different stakeholders. And some of the stakeholders didn't align much with community. We had a lot of industry, but we set a tone, right? Making sure community was always centered. And like I said, we met once a month. I think our deadline, like I said, we were the first ones, so we did the best that we could, but the best form of communication for us was not only for us to meet during these meetings, but also have that communication with each other, like everybody's contact list and some form of communication, whether it be email or folks just gathering outside of these AB 617 meetings. And just not too long ago, we actually just had our first AB 617. I want to call it a mini conference, but it was an event. I know bugging folks for a AB 617 state conference, so we could all get together, pick each other's brain, talk to each other. I might not be dealing with the ports directly, but indirectly I am, right? I'm dealing with warehouses. We got warehouses here in San Bernardino and in these areas, like fast food restaurants. They're in every corner, everywhere. They're literally boxing in our communities. And when I say they're boxing in, our children are going to their backyards and it's looking like they're going out for yard time in a jail. They're literally boxed in by concrete. Their schools are across the street and so forth. And another thing I do want to say is when you are working on your SERP, be very specific. One thing that that I noticed is when you say you want air monitors at the school and this and that, make sure you also put that you also want them for like homes or incentives for people like to get for their houses and different. Want to be very specific, because if you want to prioritize like schools over homes, but making sure that sometimes you can't go back and change the SERP. So you want to be very detailed and specific now. So that's just something there that I wanted to throw in. But yeah, making sure like your subcommittees, we have a place outside that folks can kind of communicate other than once a month. For us now it's like every quarter, but making sure y'all have those contacts, y'all keep talking even outside of your AB 617 general meetings, and demand other spaces, maybe where AQMD and CARB are not at, so y'all could pick each other's brain, brainstorm, talk, keep those dialogues going with or without them. And remember, we are the experts. they are here to help us with the resources they have, but we're the ones that should be guiding them because we're the experts of our communities. And this AB 617 wouldn't be nothing without us. So.
Thank you so much, Angie. That's very, very good advice. We appreciate you sharing that. So next I'm gonna go ahead and lean on Jacqueline. Another really great question that that comes up early on are how actions are selected. So my question is, how did the air monitoring drive the projects or actions that were selected in your community? How did your CSC go about determining what actions were needed in your community?
In terms of air quality monitoring, we did an analysis of current technology that was already there for us to determine the best location. And of course, with community partners, we established a location too. Are you able to hear me?
It's difficult to hear you. Maybe if you can speak a little bit more clearly to your mic, thank you.
Yes, no problem. Forgive me. I was speaking relative to our camp, how we came up with the plan. We did a thorough analysis of pre-existing technology or air monitoring equipment that was in our map jurisdiction. And along with the CSC, we all determined a location. Yes.
I'm so sorry, we're just really struggling to hear you.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we could do a quick sound check until we can hear you a little more clearly.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Is that better, everyone?
Okay, yes?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm in a flight zone. All the planes are going by right now. Forgive me. I was speaking relative to the camp. As a CSC, we went through all of the air monitoring that currently exists and identify a location to do air monitoring so we can continually have access to this information to further identify what our focus would be. And so in terms of monitoring, it's something that's very important, especially when it comes to enforcement. And so that kind of ties into your SERP. When you create your SERP, what actions are you going to create relative to the air quality at the time? And so it was just a system like that, pretty much simple. We were lucky that we had so many points to reference already to kind of give us a full picture of what we were dealing with as far as the particulate matters and actions that we could create. But the reality is also too, depending on your SERP, even especially when it comes to participatory budgeting, it's different things that you will want to focus on, different ad hoc committees, probably that you create outside of your subcommittees, because sometimes, things, is different rules that are in effect. You want to make sure that you pay attention to the rules, especially like oil and gas right now. And we have a lot of things going on with that when it comes to the port. And so you want to make sure that you have space created to reference all of the points of contamination so your plan could be effective. And even when it comes again to participatory budgeting, because we have our actions, we experience the same thing with air filtration systems for schools in a sense. Some have them, some don't, but it's like, how are you going to create your subcommittees to work on these things? And yes, we are grateful to CARB and to AQMD. A lot of the staff live in the neighborhoods, and so they understand, and that was a blessing. But outside of that, again, what other agencies are you going to bring in to build that partnership so you could be more effective? And then I just want to take it back real quick to we have pre-existing funds. You might have community projects And you want to make sure that you have identified the funds that are already available. So you could reference that. And then as you're building your community projects, you could use, for instance, the participatory budget. And I want to also say that we went over our initial $10 million amount. They say, ask and you shall receive, right? We were able to get our budget extended to 11.2 million. And so it's just about keeping up with the data and the metrics. What tools will you be using? We have a tool that we can access to monitor the air quality, because those are the things that's going to help you make the best decisions and also create a footprint that you can build for resiliency in your community.
Thank you for that, Jacqueline. Appreciate you sharing that with us. We have one last question, that's gonna be for Sylvia. So, the South Sacramento Flooring community was a camp, and now they've transitioned to a serve plus a camp. The camp will continue to be implemented, so the CSC would like to better understand how other CSCs have been able to implement both the camp and the serve. So I'd like to understand, so your community at Portside went through a similar process and went from a camp to a camp plus a serve. So the question is, can you please describe how the camp and serve are being implemented simultaneously?
Sure. That's a very good question. There's two separate things, even though there's a very familiar goal for both of them. But I think now that they mentioned regarding to the camp, which is the monitoring data, that is the most important part, or one of the most important parts. Why? Because we will be assessing the data, the information that's being used as a matrix of the pollution, the emissions that's taking place, whether it was 4 years ago or today, 2024. The SERP, our SERP at the Portside was actually completed, if I'm not mistaken, in 2021 approximately. And then the monitoring was actually taking effect during the same period of time. That's 3 years ago. Today's 2024. So we're keeping track of the, for comparison, we're keeping track of yesterday's to today, which is a big difference. And that has fortunately provided us with some changes, a positive change, where emissions have been reducing. Many things are taking place in regards to pollution. And also we identified there's different sources where we collect information in regards to the pollution, the emissions that are taking place. Within this assessment, we also identified that what we thought that the trucks, the heavy duty trucks, were a main obstacle for this pollution issue. We found that the trains were even worse. So I live in what they call the West National City area, the Old Town. There are trains that take place there, not as much as before, but when they did find this data and collected it, there was a great amount of pollution due to emissions. So that was a very effective way of identifying other sources that are being the cause of this high risk in regards to our health. So in regards to the implementation, I don't know if I did fulfill the answer that you're looking for. But in regards to the implementation of the SERP, there was a necessity to create more subcommittees. From beginning of the charter, I was going to mention that as well, but I check your website and you guys are on top of that. So that's a big plus for you guys. You have a charter already in place. I will be discussing really quick this, but feel free to access it's ASDAPCD.org. That's the San Diego Air Pollution Control. They have all the documents that you need. You could feel free to use as reference. It is a lot of information, but it's very valuable for you to complete your own SERP and implement it as you consider the best strategies for your particular area. There's a lot of information there, so feel free to do that. But it is a lot of detailed that you must not ignore, especially, like I said, in your area. On our port side, we have fortunately worked with other agencies besides the APCD. The Port of San Diego has been very available for that. And also our city officials. They do participate along with us, the City of San Diego, City of National City, and other great officials that have taken place. And one very particular and very important part is that we have also collaborated. We as committee members have collaborated with these partnerships, and we were open to work together. And that includes for us as community members to trust the process, communicate properly with other agencies. And in order for us to do that, there was a variety of steps to take. And of course, one of them is many of our members are Spanish speakers. And the language barrier has been very difficult. So if you cannot connect with your own language, it's very challenging for them to really open up and let them know what exactly they are suffering, or what are the little details that need to be taking place at this point. So that's very important, gaining the trust of the community members. Like Angie said, we must work together and let them know what we're going through, and be very strong advocates at that and be behind it. There's the only way to do that on both ends, earn their trust and respect for each other. That's the best thing you could do to get things done. So I hope I answered your question. That I could go on and on, but this is very valuable information that you could take place. Feel free to check out, like I said, SDAPCD.org. They have a lot of information there.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. I will be sure to go ahead and get that resource and share it out with all the CSC members so they have that available. But again, thank you for sharing your experience, and respect is definitely key, and trust. So appreciate that. Now we can go ahead and open it up for the CSE members or members of the community to also ask or get this questions.
Yeah, I'd like to provide some context here. First, thanks everyone for your comments. Celia, I've heard from a lot of folks that San Diego is the best of the best when it comes to AB 617. So congratulations there. But for context for this group, I do know that before the Portside community was selected for AB 617, that a CAR board member was active in the community in creating justice. Going back to the 80s, that community had been involved in environmental justice battles against junkyards, which were concentrated in Mexican communities. So San Diego had a long history of advocacy. A CAR board member, who I believe was appointed the EJ board member for the state as executive director of a key partner there. That made a big difference for them, and it's a good thing because, I feel like my raza's benefiting over there. I think the process here is a lot closer to what happened in Richmond and Shafter, who we're not hearing from. In Shafter, you had a community called Colonia Mexicana, or Mexican Colony, that the Air District wanted to exclude from the AB 617 boundaries, even though they were immediately adjacent and plagued with pollution. I would like the steering committee here to request from CAR that they hear from people in Shafter who dealt with that issue, who hear from the people in Richmond who experienced this game of hide the ball that we experience here. I do appreciate your comments, but to be wholly sincerely with you, Silvia, I can't trust the process. We don't have the same infrastructure that you had that contributed to your guys' success. I think here we've had mostly manipulation and lies, and our Colonia Mexicana didn't get included. It has recently, but I don't see much effort to really give them justice. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I understand you wholeheartedly. There has been a great issue in regards to disrespect for what we call la raza, nuestra raza. Just to give you an idea, that's what I always emphasize. We have to be very strong advocates where we live at and figure out a way how to connect to those minds that either have not lived in the area or for whatever reason. One greatest example, I'm representing National City, but I do want to mention Barrio Logan. Barrio Logan is a very, it gives me the chills just talking about it. Chicano Park. I don't know if you're familiar with Chicano Park. That's exactly where they brought, that's another story, but look it up. Chicano Park is, was a junkyard as well. A lot of issues there in regards to that. Too many industrial businesses around that has been polluting our community. In between the same information, the same atmosphere where National City and Barrio Logan are dealing with. It's an industrial area, which means that there's residential, and right next door you have businesses, industrial businesses that are polluting our air. And there's so many stories behind that. But the reason what I'm trying to tell you, or the main focus, I think, is we have to be very resilient in sharing this and finding other creative ways how to communicate, how to advocate, not only in CSC, but in our area, Barrio Logan, Logan Heights, National City, even in our international community as Juan San Isidro. We are not only in these type of committees. We are in other committees and other working groups and other ad hoc. And I hate to use this word, but it's very, very strong. We're sneaking in there. We're sneaking in there and letting them know that this is what's going on. It has been going on for so many years, and that needs to be changed. It has to make a big change. There's so much that we could do, but I think being very creative and very strong within ourselves are our main focuses, which is bettering our communities, because we're being hurt in many ways. National City has been doing so much, has been making so many changes, positive changes, yet these new businesses are still trying to come back here and pollute our community. And USDG Fuels is one of them. We've been fighting with them in the last months, and other businesses. Some of them we have very effective and have won that fight. But then another one comes in, and we have to do all over again. It gets very tiring, but we have to continue. It's a resilience. So thank you for sharing, and do not give up. Do not give up.
If I can say something real quick, I want to agree with what you said totally, because you do not want to give up. And when you're on a committee like this, you have all types of advocates You have the people that are very loud and you have the people that work quietly. So, it each one has a niche, and depending on what you're working on, they can be a good resource or contact. But I'm the chairperson for the Regulatory and Enforcement Committee. And if there's anything that we can do to make it tougher for some people to pollute, if there's anything we can do locally, we're gonna do it. So I just want to say that. Good luck, because it's hard, but it's so rewarding.
Just want to know that we do have a question online. So there's no more questions. Yeah, you have one person.
Yeah, I have a question for Angie from San Bernardino. And my question was, when you were talking about working with the different, parts of the community and including them in your meetings, I think it was, I wrote down. So sometimes we're just the steering committee members at our meetings, and so we haven't branched out to the community and engaged them and brought in the business interests, the neighborhood associations, the different components in our community. And so I just wanted to hear that at your meetings, that's what you have. So the subcommittees are composed of outside interests or business interests as well as steering committee members.
So our overall AB 617 meetings, yes, we would have folks from like representatives from Omnitrans, Edison, other stakeholders in our CSC. And we even had BNSF, because BNSF, you know, we have a couple of hubs here in San Bernardino and Colton. So we even had stakeholders from them. Maybe not the most pleasant folks that we want to know, but we brought, when we would talk about our, you know, concerns, the issues going on in our neighborhoods and our barrios and stuff, they would be like, oh shit, like, you know, they're calling us out. Like one of the Omnitrans, they had this there was this distinct smell coming from the diesel or something from their buses and stuff that was affecting one of the schools, elementary schools right across the street. So we did monitoring there, and it showed the high pockets of like the pollution and stuff there right by the elementary, like literally across the street. So them seeing that and being there at our CSC, they were like, oh, you know, they acted pretty quickly. They went and checked it out and stuff like that. Omnitrans also, you know, started doing their own little like CSC meetings and involving community, trying to get different stakeholders, because they were trying to add more like redo like their transportation and stuff like that, especially around in our areas here in the IE. But we did get a lot of stakeholders involved, but the main focus should always be bringing more community, bringing more entrepreneurs, business, local business, bringing folks that you know, your neighbors, bringing those folks in that usually don't have that seat at the table, bring those folks in and make sure we're stacking it with our community. I hope that answers, Herman.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Angie. Herman Barahona, he's online and he also has a question.
Yes, before you get to the question, just wanted to time check real fast. We do have 1 more minute on this, so Stephanie and Vincent, would you like to continue with the question for their online?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, I hear that in San Diego you had both a SERP and a camp operating at the same time. Is that correct?
Yes, within a certain period of time, you could say that. But we do.
Okay, so with those standing committees, for example, you can go and take air quality measurements at a specific target that you point at within your project area, and you can still do that today.
Correct. So they created subcommittees. We kind of started with 4 at this point. It was a SERP, which I was part of it at the beginning. Also the air monitoring, which is the camp. And what's the land use and the ad hoc for trucks. At this moment, we only have 3, which is the SERP as well, which is the implementation of the SERP and the funding to it. The air monitoring and data and outreach. But those 2 are still implemented and be reassessed as we go as well, because these could change or updates can be taking place. So
And these ad hoc
the
committees,
subcommittees are. Sorry, go ahead.
these ad hoc committees, whether it was camp or SERP or the trucks one, are they funded through AB 617 implementation dollars?
That is a very good question. It is included within that. I don't know the numbers if they are. We usually, these last meetings that we have, we do those meetings on a monthly basis, you could say. So if I can remember, every 3 months, every 3 months, then we meet in person, and that's how we have our meetings for these subcommittees. Whereas before, at the beginning, it was different, of course. We had to meet maybe twice a month to get things set up and everything. And as you went, then of course we adjusted to what was needed at the time.
Yeah, that sounds
But
good.
yes, so it's a process. From my understanding, this AB 617 kind of started in a way in 2017. There's a lot of upgrading changes. Some of them were retiring, some of them were changing jobs, things like that. So I started attending in 2018, and officially I became a CSE member in 2019. So it was a process.
Okay.
And subcommittees are a big help.
I have a whole bunch of questions. Can I just leave my email so I can contact you offline? Is that okay?
Sure, feel free to email me.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Okay, yeah, this is the events with the steering committee. This one is for Debbie and Stockton. And like Herman said, this is a perfect example of why we need to have a convening of the steering committees, because all these questions and answers that are coming out are leading to more questions. And I suggest that we have a Northern California one, since they had one in Southern California already. We might as well have one in Northern California before the end of the year, maybe for the holidays. But I guess, I know we're running out of time, but in regards to the participatory budgeting, you had said we learned how much is available. And
Yes.
early when you started talking about it. And so we just went through our budget last month, and we're doing things a lot differently. And I know you guys are right down I-5 or 99. And so I may just have to go and meet you and talk about this, but what did you mean by when you said we found out how much is available? Is this what the steering committee gets to use on their SERP process or for the implementation? And how did you guys use it?
Well, basically, we were told by the air district, we asked how much is available, for us to do all these things. We were given a dollar figure, and it has increased a bit, but basically we have kept at that dollar figure. And how we did it was really, we voted. believe it or not. We have a organization that comes in and does the meeting, conducts the meetings, and they set up voting, the ability for us to vote. And so we would vote, you know, do you want 2 million? Do you want 10 million? Do you want 5 million? Do you want 1 million? You want $500,000 to go to this? How much do you want to go to, let's say, for example, electric replacement of gas engines, or cleaning of, excuse me, yard care. So that was a very popular, and we figured out how much it would save us in NOx. Someone actually figured out how much it would save us in NOx emissions by adding another $100,000 to the SERP for that project. And it actually made a huge difference in the whole area. So it didn't affect just, we have a port, and at that port, they have a lot of dirty businesses. I don't know how else to say it. They do. And the port board doesn't vote with us and does not so much listen to the public. And it's always been like that. We're trying to make a change. They're trying to make a change even. They added an environmental person to the port. So that person is in charge of making sure that the port is having viable environmental change, especially to the air, because that's what they're affecting most of all. So, but as far as budgets go, we voted, and it was, and we're going to be, maybe you could come to this next one, because we're going to be voting again on a couple of, and adding money to a couple of different issues. So you can always check in with Zoom, so I can give you the information for it if you like.
Can I quickly ask something about the participatory budgeting? We created a pamphlet, a voting pamphlet, which was a tool that we think is going to be beneficial. We're actually voting in October. And so in the pamphlet, it pretty much explains everything about each.
Hard for us to hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries at all. I'll reach out to you and repeat the question and then get your answer, and we can send it back in writing to the steering committee. And it's, you know, sometimes the audio issues are hard, but I think we're also behind the schedule. So thanks so much. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I just want to make sure there's enough time for the rest of the steering committee discussion. So thank you so much, and I'll follow up with you.
All right, do you feel ready to go to the next agenda item? Okay, perfect. So next item, agenda item number 3, administrative items. I'll turn it over to Stephanie to do some.
Before we move on, can
Yes.
we go ahead and thank our panelists?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe Stephanie and you can.
Absolutely. All right, on behalf of the South Sacramento Steering Committee, we want to thank you all of our panelists, Debbie, Angie, Jacqueline, and Sylvia, for all of your comments and your words of wisdom on tonight. If you could please provide us, drop your emails in the chat. I'm sure that other members of the public and then also steering committee members may also have some additional questions or want to reach out to you as we progress and moving forward in our search. So if you could provide us with that information, that would be great. And again, thank you so much for your time and attention. We really appreciate it and value.
Thank you. I also included the links as the ABCD if you'd like to do that as well.
All right, thank you. We surely appreciate that. All right.
Thanks for inviting us.
You're welcome. All right, so moving on to our administrative item. It is on our agenda, so we do have this, we want to take this opportunity to approve our meeting summary. It is included in your package, and so for steering committee members, asking, hopefully you've had an opportunity to review those. And this is a summary for the August 2024 meeting. And so with that, if there is a motion to approve our August 24 meeting minutes.
Also, just making a note that any committee members are having access issues with electronic ballot, just let us know.
All right, we have a motion to approve from Morgan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Let's go ahead and take a vote. If you, for steering committee members that are online, please unmute yourself now so that when I call your name, you can be responsive. Bishop Chris Baker,
Yes.
Patricia Shelby, Rhonda Henderson,
Yes.
Tito Home,
Yes.
Vincent Valdez,
Yes.
Rachel Brown, Stephen Street,
Yes.
Randall Moreno, Michael Lampkin, Richard Lincoln, Ward Winchell, Barry Boyd, Morgan, Barry Boyd.
I'm sorry, when the motion was made, there was noise on my end, so I couldn't even hear the motion. So if you would repeat that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, yes, and so we have a motion and a second to approve our meeting summary minutes from August 2024. And we are now in the voting component, and so I'm calling out your name on whether you vote to approve the August 2024 meeting summary.
Thank you. Aye.
Thank you. Morgan Brown. All right. Lori Walker. Robert Rizzo.
Yes.
All right, Roberto, I'm sorry, and Stephanie Glenn, aye. All right, thank you for that, and I am now going to pass it over to Mr. Valdez for our next administrative item.
So we're gonna do the applications.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have no more administrative items on the agenda. The next one will be action items. We ate up some of our time that we had dedicated to that. So to cover that, we will have to hunt the action items.
So we want to do that, okay.
Or the updates, we have to move something off the agenda to
Yeah.
make up that.
So we want to
We're gonna do the applicants, right?
If you would like to do that, we would have to get rid of something else on the agenda, or we won't have time to cover.
Yes, we're doing the applicants first.
Okay, perfect.
got it.
So we will do action item number, this agenda item number 4, action items, recommend the steering committee member application. So I'll give it back to Vincent for the discussion.
Okay, so I just see 2 applicants on my sheet. That's what we're discussing right now. Okay, so, we're gonna open up the application process. First is applicant would be Jamala Green, and Jamala was our member prior to moving out of our boundaries. And then now she is included in our new boundaries, so she will be our first new resident in our new boundaries. Yay, Jamala. Has everybody seen the applications inside, the applicant's information inside our pamphlets? Does anybody have any questions for Jamala Green? Or Jamala, would you like to say, speak to us, please?
Can you hear me? I apologize. I'm kind of losing my voice.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if you had any questions or anything, but I am excited to be able to rejoin the steering committee. I'm glad that the boundaries were expanded, so I'm really looking forward to be able to join again. I apologize. Like I said, I'm losing my voice.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back too. Are there any questions for Jamala in regards to her application? From the steering committee members? Yeah, I can't see the screen. Oh, you did? Yeah, I have a question. Right here, right, things that pretty much.
Oh, it was recent.
Yes.
Yeah. Just before you came on.
Got it. Okay, well, hi, Jamal. My name is Roberto Rizzo. I am one of the steering committee members here. I thought you had, maybe you moved a couple years ago. And my question was gonna be like, since the last time you were part of the committee, what is something that you would like to see different or how do you think we could improve since the last time you were part of the committee? And, how can we best move forward?
So I was last a part of the committee. It was it's been about maybe 6 months or so. So when I was last a part of it, we're just voting to become a SERP. So I know like in the last 6 months that's kind of happened. What I would really like to see, I think the vehicle emissions program where they're allowing people to purchase energy efficient vehicles. I would like to see that expanded, and also I would like to see, and I know that in some of the communities, they had electric vehicles available to them, but I've kind of noticed recently that I don't see those vehicles no more. So I would like to see kind of like what's going on with that and just really expanding the access to our communities to access an electric vehicle. So yeah, that's what I would like to see.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions for Jamala Green? I can't see the screen.
No. No question.
Okay. There's a second applicant.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have,
Go right now.
just going for the point of order, we'll first have to do a motion, vote the motion for this application. Before you go to the second, then we'll also have a period for public comment after the motion has been passed. For second, it's.
I make a motion that we accept Jamala Green as our new resident on the South Sacramento Forum Community Steering Committee.
I second.
And seconded by Roberto.
All right, any public comment for the action item? Now that that's been seconded.
Any questions from the public?
All right, I'll make a question. I really have comments, but I'll word it as a question. So,
Comments are fine too, it doesn't,
Was that?
it can be a comment as well.
Oh, okay, so then, Jamala mentioned electricity, and I'd like to mention that I've seen Mirais for like $12,000 or 20,000 miles, and they're 2024s. People buy these cars and there's no infrastructure there for them, so they end up dumping them for incredibly cheap. My mechanic said that he would buy a hydrogen or fuel cell vehicle if there was the infrastructure in South Sac. I do recall that the district initially was pushing for that, and the steering committee pushed back, saying that mostly wealthy folks can afford the hydrogen cars, but if you look them up now, they're dirt cheap. According to mechanics, they're fairly reliable, and so they're not.
No infrastructure.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's what the circle pushed for, is hydrogen infrastructure in South Sac, so that more folks can take advantage of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles without relying on CRVP grants. And I'm not a mechanic, people would have to do their own research on the reliability. I'm just sharing what I was.
So just make a note that this is, comments are open for relation to the motion of accepting or offering. Are there any online questions? Please raise your hand if you have any. All right, if you feel comfortable, you can close the public comment.
Okay, we're gonna close public comments and now we'll do the vote.
I can go, I'll call the list, I got the list right here. All right, so, we're calling for
We did have some questions online, just.
oh, we did, okay, okay, questions online.
Rhonda Henderson, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to say, we're glad to have you back. I hope we vote you in, Jamala.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Armand.
Yes, this is for Jamala. Welcome back to the group. Remind me what part of South Sac you're in, or what group you'll be representing as a resident?
So I am in Brentwood, so 95822 area.
And you applied as a resident?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Very important. You're on mute if you're trying to talk, Barry.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't hear anyone call my name. I appreciate that. Jamila, only because I've heard Brentwood, more familiar with it in Southern California, but just because I don't know, where's Brentwood out here?
So Brentwood is located between Fruit Ridge and 47th, on kind of like near the executive airport.
Fruit Ridge and 47.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Now it just clicked. So like 24th Street between 24th and Franklin.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now here's a question for, well, like beyond the steering committee, for the district. If I'm correct, 47th was our border, or was the original border. I'm just curious. As Jamila said, she's a resident, but she was a steering committee member outside of the original border, or did the border extend further north in 47th Avenue as I remember it?
No, she was previously within the borders and she moved.
That answers the question. Now, to that, since she moved outside of the boundary, what does the charter state in regards to that happening?
She now lives within the extended boundaries.
I'm sorry, yet a little closer to the microphone.
I said she is now within the extended boundaries, and so this is the request for her return, or this is her reapplication.
Gotcha. So I'm just becoming aware of it. So the application and vote is happening on the same day? Because it did not happen that way for Sacramento Environmental Justice Coalition. It was a process to go through.
would you like some more time to review her application?
I most certainly would. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
You already said it.
Okay,
There's a motion on the floor to approve, actually.
so Barry, where we were at was when she moved out of the boundaries, we told her that we would get back to her if she worked in the boundaries as a she could possibly participate in that way, or if we moved our boundaries, we would recontact her and invite her back onto the steering committee. And so that's where we're at in the process.
I just want to make a point of order. We're currently on the action item to approve or not approve the motion on this item. And it's already been seconded.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Yes, actually, here's a point of order. My motion is to delay the vote until I have time to review the application. And there is my, not even motion, my request to do so. And that is a point of order, check the charter and the way this set up for the premise. And just actually to remind everyone, we are under AQMD, which is side sister of the county, but also under CARB, under CARB, which is state. We actually are following and have to follow the procedures of both county and the state, to which the point of order is to hold the vote until committee members, i.e. myself, have time to review the application. Thank you.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, where are we at?
We can go, we can come back.
So just to clarify, we did send out the information for this meeting, right? This the application information was sent out part of this and it's also posted on our website. So that's for the certain committee to consider as well.
Okay, so we're in compliance
Right.
with notification. All right. Okay. Okay, so is everybody ready to vote?
We have a question for Rhonda. The end up.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Rhonda. We hear you.
Okay, I felt since Jamila was already a member, she just relocated and she's just doing a new application to come back on. Was not the application available before the meeting?
Yes, it was.
So if people didn't get a chance to read it, that's on them.
Okay, we are moving forward with the vote. We're gonna move forward with the vote. I see another hand. What?
Just so
Okay.
for clarity, as the process goes, the announcement comes a meeting prior to a vote for a new committee member, regardless if said committee member was previously on and or not. It doesn't happen within a day or two of the agendized item. It's an announcement from prior meeting. The next meeting is when a vote happens. Read the charter.
I think you know what, I think for, and I'm gonna make another motion, I think for the sake of time, we still have members of the public that are here that may have comment. I know that we will not get through all of our agenda items with the time that we have. If it is okay with the steering committee, I make a motion to table the discussion for Jamala until our next meeting so that we can move forward with the agenda. That's another motion that I have.
What do we have to move?
Yes, we will, and we will.
Thank you. My question was, we would have to move forward from the application.
All right, so I'm making a motion. Is there, you second it? All right, all right. So now we are here. All
All
right,
right, so that would mean, yeah, the next step would be to vote on the motion to table this discussion until the next meeting.
all right. So I am going to call roll. So we have a motion and a second motion to table this discussion. So that all steering committee members will have an opportunity to review both applications. And we will return at our next meeting where where a vote will commence. So this is the motion to table this discussion until, and voting for the next meeting.
We do have two. We have a.
Okay.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Bishop.
Are we in compliance with her application? I heard
Yeah.
somebody say we are.
Yes. We do
So are
believe
we
that we're
100% in
with
compliance?
our application.
We're 100% in compliance.
Yes.
Then why are we tabling it?
Why are we tabling it if we're 100% in compliance?
We still have another, it's just a motion that I am making for the sake of time.
Okay, I
because
got
think
you.
it's
Okay.
a Conversation that we may have some more questions on, and just to be respectful for all,
Okay.
committee members.
So yes,
All right,
so
gotcha.
the point, right
Gotcha.
now, the motion is now asking for a vote on whether or not to table. Members can register their vote on whether they would like this to be tabled or what the original motion continue to vote.
Gotcha.
All right, so I'm asking, so this vote is either to motion or to move forward with the vote. So motion to postpone this vote until our next meeting for both applicants, starting
Sorry,
with,
right before that, we do have public comment on the second.
all right.
Armand. We saw your hand drop. Does that mean you're not wanting to ask a question on this motion?
No, I'll ask at the next meeting for time's sake. I just don't see any consistent process and applicants being invited to this CSC. So I'm very concerned about the inconsistencies, but let's take it to the next meeting.
All right, and your comment has been noted as well.
Thank you. All right, and we will be sure that we are consistent with our process moving forward. We will check and double check and make sure that everything is in order. Notice everyone is aware, so we will make sure that we, make sure that that step is included moving forward. Thank you. Bishop Chris Baker. Calling for votes.
Yes.
All right, Rhonda Henderson,
No.
Tito, abstain, Vincent Valdez.
No.
Okay, Rachel Brown. Stephen Street. Rena Moreno. Michael Lampkin. Richard Lincoln. Ward Winchell. Barry Boyd.
Yes.
Morgan Brown. Lori Walker.
Abstain.
Roberto Rizzo.
Yes.
And then I'm a yes. Where are we?
5 yeses, 3 no's, 2 abstentions.
5 yeses, 2 no's, 3 abstentions. 3 no's, 2 abstentions.
Table.
So motion passes to table this item to the next meeting.
Right.
This would apply to the second application as well.
I have a point of order, something Rhonda just wrote. If we're in compliance, I'm getting a little confused here and frustrated. If we're in compliance, shouldn't we vote her in tonight?
We just motioned to table the discussion until next week so that we will have more time.
We don't need more time.
So the motion is already, so it's already passed and we're gonna table the discussion.
Okay.
I don't really think this is fair to her. I've read her things and I've heard other comments, and I don't think it's fair to her to be on here and then she has to wait again, but if that's what it is, we have to all wait till the next meeting. I just want to tell her that welcome back and sorry that this happened to you, that we couldn't do it tonight.
So, with that motion, passing, that means we move on to the next agenda item, updates. For the sake of time, we are, past that time. So just asking Vincent and Stephanie if you'd like to still go through the item for updates, or we would have to cut to public comment at the end, as well as our new business and upcoming meeting topics.
I'm gonna do some updates real quick and then we'll go to public comments and try to continue. So this is a good example of where we run out of time to do community business at our steering committee meetings. So we've had presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation. And there is a lot of things that this committee needs to get done. And number one is participate on the subcommittees. And we need help. And so one of the things we've been kicking around is hiring interns. And so I am gonna propose at the next outreach meeting that we have an intern application for either Sac State, Consumers River College, or Sacramento City College. And if there's any other colleges or schools that you're interested, but we would like to get adult interns to help us with our website.
Apologies for the interruption. We do have one point of order. After review, the motion to table the conversation related to the action item has not passed. It requires a majority of members, yes, and we only have 5. The threshold would be 6, so the motion does not pass. The original motion to vote on the application has passed. So we've had public comment that was closed. So you are in your rights to continue the vote on.
That's what I thought.
They've been making a screeching car sound and.
Apologies.
Let's go back. Okay. We're voting on Jamala Green to be our first new member from the new boundaries of our CERT and steering committee boundaries.
All right. So I'm going to call the vote for, starting with Bishop Chris Baker,
Yes.
Rhonda Henderson.
Yes, resounding yes.
Yes, Tito Mo.
Welcome back, Jamala. Yes.
That's a yes. Vincent Valdez,
Yes.
Rachel Brown, Stephen Street.
Yes.
All right, Raina Moreno, Michael Lampkin, Richard Lincoln, Ward Winchell, Barry Boyd,
Abstain.
Morgan Brown. Yeah. Lori Walker,
Abstained.
Roberto Rizzo,
Yes.
Stephanie Williams, yes. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We have 8 yeses, the motion passes with 2 abstentions.
Okay, so where we are in the process, I do believe we need to speak about. We have to speak about Serena Rodriguez, discuss her application, and then vote on it next month. So our next applicant is Serena Rodriguez. Has everybody had a chance to look at it? I don't think she's online.
For time, we are pressed, so.
Okay, all right, so we're going to pass that one to our meeting minutes for our next month's agenda. Okay, so anyway, back to my comments on why we need more time to conduct community business. Color the Block has an event on the 29th, right down the street, right over here on 41st in Sacramento. I mean, I'm old, huh? 41st and Martin Luther King Boulevard, and they need our support. And so we're gonna call you, Rhonda, for some outreach funds to help do the Clean Air Day event at 41st and Martin Luther King, right down the street here. And she has a small, I'll let her talk about it in a minute, but let me finish with all the different other things that we need to be talking about. So 53rd and Franklin, we've heard from the community that there's a taco vendor there. With a lot of the community that goes there on Friday, I'm gonna propose that we have 40 $10 vouchers for the first 40 people to fill out surveys at our table, when we table there on a Friday, if I can get volunteers to help with that. So there was Autumn Moon Festival was just last week, and so we didn't have time to talk about that, to get it going, to get a table. But Valley Vision was there, United Latinos was there, there was I think the Air District, were you there? Or no, we didn't make it to that. Okay, and so there's a lot of things coming up in the community that we can do outreach and engage the community where they're at. And so there's events, the Climate Justice Festival, October 5th is coming up. And it's at the Patchy Park, which is in Oak Park. It's an annual event, but it's in our new boundaries. And I'm gonna be out of town, but that doesn't mean we can't go because Vince is out of town. We need more people from the steering committee to show up and participate. And here's Morgan to talk about Color the Block.
Thank you so much.
We have 5 minutes.
Yes, I can be really quick. So I know that there's another clean area event happening on the 29th. So I made it a point to schedule it an hour after that event is over. So that way we can reach everybody. So we will have on-hand in-ground planting happening that day. Really focused on trying to target that apartment complex community that has a lot of kids, high immigrant Afghan community over there. So really being able to hit like a different target market that generally maybe that might not be a part of the scope. And then we have another upcoming event on October 20th at Estate Farm, the 10-acre farm, which we will want the Air District, if they can come out at the table as well. To provide support, since we are able to reach a lot of people there, and they're from all over Sacramento. I feel like that gives a really great wide range to be able to access.
Thank you. We made note
That's
that
this Sunday.
made note that Stephanie's requested to skip the agenda item number 5 updates. Agenda item number 6, new business and upcoming meetings, still open the floor for public comment. We have approximately 4 minutes for this item. Do we have any public comments of anyone in the room? We have 1, 2. Anyone online, please raise your hand.
Starting with Lindsay first.
Thank
Just
you.
request everyone to make the 30 seconds or less, please.
This being the South Sac 8617 steering community, I thought I'd let you know that a 12-year-old kid was killed in Meadowview. This district, the communities that were excluded didn't get any event grants. North Oak Park got 7. McClatchy Park, what he's talking about. First 8617 grant, Valley Vision is mostly in Oak Park. I've seen so much systemic racism in this process that I've showed up to agencies that call them poverty pimps. But I'm not sure this hasn't been Robin Hooding, taking from the poor and giving to the wealthy. As a community member, I look at you guys as community representatives and governments as protectors of public health. When I heard that little kid was killed, I thought this process contributes to the systemic racism that led that kid to be marginalized. His community was excluded initially as well. Thank you.
That's time for the comment. We'll go to our second in-person comment. You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. And yes, Valley Vision is a community air grantee, although we work in North Sacramento, Oak Park, and Meadowview. So anyway, well, first of all, I had the privilege of going out to one of Morgan's, I think, early events at that site, and it is amazing. I highly recommend you guys go check it out. It's good, work day, good opportunity to get your hands dirty. But my main comment here is just following up on my comment last month about the community air grant program, and just wanting to explore that opportunity with you all, considering that you guys are talking about doing a lot of great work in the community, and this being, up to $500,000 for this kind of work, to expand and amplify your impact. So let's talk, please. Thank you.
And that's time. Thank you for that moment. We have a comment online. Go ahead, Bishop.
Quickly, I just wanted to say that we're here to work together. We're not here to label people and call them names such as poverty pimps and so on. And I take offense to Adrian's organization being categorized like that. Adrian does great work. I know him on a personal level. I've worked with him and they do great work. within the community besides Oak Park. So we're here to work together and not label people with these names. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
We do have a public comment from Erica. Go ahead, Erica. Please unmute yourself. There, thank you.
Yeah, I would just want to make a quick comment here because this is not the first time that this has happened. And I sit on the South Sacramento Community Planning Advisory Council. I've been doing that for almost 7 years now. And our job as community members is not to ostracize whether we disagree or not, or get personally offended by people in the audience who are there to public comment. Our job is not to ostracize people and personalize what they're saying to us. They're talking about the system here. And I also just want to say that the process with Jamal is unfair, but I think the important part of what Barry was getting at was the process was unfair. And so we need to address the process.
This is unfair.
So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. We'll get to the last question from Armand. Or sorry, comment from Armand, 30 seconds. We did have a comment in the chat. Vincent and Morgan, send me the flyer and details of the cost for each. Anything $500 or less, I can send an invoice to cover any cost. This is from Rhonda.
So I remember a while back, we asked for something in writing that would explain the process for recruiting new CSC members. We've never gotten that from AQMD. So is there such document besides reading the charter? Is there something that explains in simple terms to our immigrant communities in Spanish or anybody else who asks, this is how you could apply if you're interested in joining? Because I don't see a V line of people applying for these positions because we don't even know where to apply and really who's really deciding these applications by the time they get to you guys. So I'm really concerned about the inconsistency of the recruitment process.
Thank you for all the public comments. Thank you to Carl for the presentation and the panelists. With that, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting with our South Sac Flooring clap. So what do we want? South Sac clean air. Thank you, everyone.